What's up, everybody? We're here again with a little bonus clip of the factory tour. I've still got Chris here, and we're going to talk a little bit more about some wide receivers that we didn't get to cover in the main episode. Some deeper targets, guys going in the 12th round, the 13th round of your dynasty startups. And Chris is going to start us off, actually. Chris, who's one wide receiver that you can get very late that you think is a good pick?
So one guy that I'll start off with, which I think is good for any type of team, rebuilding, contender, productive struggle, whatever, is Wan'Dale Robinson. He came out as a rookie with a really impressive prospect profile. He hit every metric I look at. He was an early declare. He had day two capital, good yard routine pass attempt, good target share, good touchdown share, early declare, just everything you could possibly ask for. And then he came out for the Giants, and he played a couple games, but he got injured too. So, if you're going back and looking, how'd Wandale do last year? He only had 8.6 points per game. But I do an adjusted points per game metric, which looks at the players' games, and if they played 50% or more of the snaps, it makes that game eligible for the new points per game metric. So Wandale's adjusted points per game last season was actually 10.2, which is, a pretty reasonable number. That's a solid flex player right there. And he actually managed a 19% target share, and his target per out run, 23%, yards per out run, 1.76. I mean, these are very good numbers. If we can see Wandale, who's healthy right now, jump into this Giants offense in his second season, show some growth. It's the Giants offense with Dabble second season. There's basically no wide receiver competition on that team, no proven wide receiver competition. The only real threat is Darren Waller, the tight end position. So I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that Wandale could lead the receivers in targets as just a median expectation for him. And if that happened, I mean, he's going to jump way up in price. Like Paul said, he's like, I'm not sure what his exact ADP is. It's around 13 or 14 round. But, I mean, it's going to go way higher if he ends up being, a high wide receiver 3 or something like that.
Right. I guess your model doesn't measure roller coaster eligibility because he is kind of a small little guy. But yeah, I like everything you said. Really the concern is just the ACL, right? Like if he's going to come back and be able to produce as he was last season, or is he going to be held back by the injury? We don't know. But like you said, there's a lot of opportunity available. We don't know that Paris Campbell or Isaiah Hodgins or Jalen Hyatt are going to take over this offense. So Wandale could emerge as the top wide receiver option as soon as he's healthy. And that makes him a pretty interesting target this late in drafts. I'm going to go with a guy who's on the exact opposite end of the size spectrum, and that's Nico Collins. So to be honest with you, I've never paid much attention to Nico Collins. I thought he was an interesting late round flyer in my rookie drafts the year he came out. He didn't do much of anything, and so I kind of wrote him off. I was like, whatever, this guy's not going to happen. That's how it usually goes for players that go that late. But Jacob Sanderson kind of put me on to Nico Collins, so I have to shout him out for pointing out some of these key metrics, because I think Collins is really flying under the radar as a legit third-year breakout candidate. Through 2 seasons, he hasn't had a lot of production, but when you look at the underlying metrics from last year, it really seems like he could put it all together in 2023. Playing next to Brandon Cooks last year, Nico Collins had a 24.3% targets per out run, 1.77 yards per out run, and a 30% target share. These numbers are very similar to Michael Pittman last season, who posted a 23.9% targets per out run, 1.57 yards per out run, and 27% air yard share. The difference for Collins,
30%
really,
target share?
No. For Collins, 30% air yard share.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it wasn't quite that high. The main difference for Collins and Pittman was just the quality of the offense. Davis Mills was like by far the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And then the other thing is that Collins did miss some games, but when you look at the games that he played, he was really right there with Brandon Cooks in terms of per route efficiency. And now Cooks is gone. CJ Stroud is in. He can't possibly be worse, even as a rookie, than Davis Mills was last year. I think Collins is a guy who could see his dynasty value rise significantly over the next 6 months. I don't necessarily think he's going to be like a difference-making player. He's still going to be in a below-average offense. I don't necessarily think he has high-end ceiling. But if I'm looking for a player who could become an appealing trade chip pretty quickly, I don't think a lot has to go right for Collins to be in that situation.
Yeah, I like Nico Collins as well. I'm glad you're shouting him out. I mean, he again, this is another guy that could lead the Texans in targets this year. I think
Yeah,
that
I think he should be favored too. I mean, they have the corpse of Robert Woods.
yep,
They have a
Dalton
wide
Schultz.
receiver even smaller than Wandale Robinson that they drafted, Tank Dell, and they have Dalton Schultz. I mean, Schultz could lead them in targets, I guess. But yeah, if I had to bet, I would pick Nico Collins to lead them in targets. I think he's been a lot better than he looks due to his situation.
Yeah, I don't think he's
Yeah,
priced to lead the team in targets. Basically, is what I'm saying. I think
yeah.
that he's it should be reasonable expectation.
All right, hit me with another deep target.
So my next deep target is going to be a guy that I would recommend mainly for contenders. That's Michael Thomas.
Mm.
This guy, I own Michael Thomas in a couple leagues, and man, has it been a pain to own him. I'm not going to lie to you. But hey, when you buy somebody, you don't have the previous hurt of all the pain they've caused you on the roster. So you get a fresh new Michael Thomas. You get a guy that's only ever been a wide receiver one when healthy. And if you look at his points per game last season, 17, his adjusted points per game, tiny sample, 20.6. I mean, this guy, he touches the field. He's a wide receiver one. There's nothing else to say about it. So, I mean, he's been had plenty of time to rehab. He's been working out. He's been looking good. He's been looking agile. And if he can come in this year, and I know we say it every year, but if he can come in, play healthy, and
Yeah,
stay healthy, I mean, this guy's a steal in these double-digit rounds.
yeah,
He can come in and he could be your most productive wide receiver. Honestly, it's
absolutely.
just
It's like if anybody is injury prone, it's Michael Thomas. Like, granted, but when he is playing, you can start him, and you're going to get points out of it. And where he's going, there's just so little opportunity cost. Like, you have to pass up on someone like Alec Pierce to draft Michael Thomas, or you have
that
to
was a
pass
great
up
point.
on. Yep.
What you said, like if Michael Thomas is active, you're playing him. If he's not active, you're not playing him. A lot of these wide receivers in this tier, you have no idea what to do. You're never going to catch their spike weeks. You're going to play them. They're going to dud. You're going to bench them. They're going to pop off. Michael
Right.
Thomas, it's great because you're basically not paying that bench spot to have him. It's in the question of whether he's going to do good or not. If he's active, he's in, he's scoring, you're winning games.
Exactly. You're never going to know when to start Darnell Mooney or Jacoby Myers or Romeo Dobbs. Like, is as much as you can say those guys are young and they aren't injury prone and their ankle isn't broken into a million tiny pieces. Sure, but they're probably going to average 10 points per game, and the week that they score 20, you're not going to play them. So I would much rather just buy Michael Thomas. I think that's a great shout. And I'll close things off with another short king, Rondale Moore, who averaged 8 targets a game last year in healthy contests, like when he wasn't leaving it with an injury. Now DeAndre Hopkins is gone. The wide receiver 2 spot in Arizona is wide open. Michael Wilson is not good. I will not hear any Michael Wilson propaganda. Trey McBride, honestly, probably isn't good. Zach Ertz is 31 years old, coming off an ACL tear. It's, I mean, it's Marquise Brown, and then it's who? I mean, it has to be Rondale Moore and James Conner getting the rest of those targets. And I think he was a good prospect. Like, he was obviously short, and that was the main concern. But when you look at his freshman production in college, he was outlandish. He was so good. He's only 23. He just turned 23, and he's going to have a high volume role in this offense. I think he, again, like Nico Collins, maybe he's not going to be a wide receiver one, but with at this late stage in a draft or in your league, if you're buying a player this cheap, you're looking for quick value gains. And I think he's another player who by week 6, week 7 could be 4 or 5 rounds up in startups if he's getting, 8 targets a game again.
You mentioned his freshman year college production. How long ago was that? Was that like 7 years ago, maybe?
It wasn't 7 years ago. Okay. I think he came out as an early declare and he's played 2 years. So at most it was 6 years ago. Look, I get it. It's thin, but we're talking about a 15th round startup pick. All of the reasons are going to be thin. I think he has better reasons for optimism than a lot of guys around him. And I just want to buy into a guy that I think is going to get volume, that I think is talented. I mean, he operates so close to the line of scrimmage that he's like practically a running back. But if he's going to get 8 targets, then he's going to get 8 targets. Like, if he catches most of them, PPR scoring is made for him. So I think he's an interesting buy.
Yeah, their offensive wide receiver room is kind of wild. It's literally all guys that are not 6 foot. And I
Greg
just had to get
Dortch.
you back there for the a roller coaster height comment with the Rondale Moore production.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So to recap, if you're looking for a deep target at wide receiver, either in your startup or in your established league, go out and get these four players: Wandale Robinson, Nico Collins, Michael Thomas, or Rondale Moore.